Please welcome our MC for the CU JDC Luncheon, Vic Lombardi.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. I survived the Broncos game last night. Thank you. Didn't mean to go there, Michelle. More to come. Trust me. Before we get going, I want to make sure there's no confusion. Reggie Rivers usually hosts this event. I am not Reggie Rivers. We are Irish twins. I only have 6 fewer rushing touchdowns than he does in NFL history. But other than that, when Reggie's out handling some issues with his family, and we wish him nothing but the best. But when he told me, could you handle this event, I jumped at the chance. It's something that's near and dear to my family, and I'm sure everyone in this room has the same effect. Everyone knows someone, and that's why we're here today. So thank you for having me. Shortly, we're going to hear from a couple powerful advocates about their stories and why speaking up about mental health is so important and how it takes a community to truly make a difference. But first, let's take a moment to recognize some of our sponsors, without which we don't have an event like this. Our leader sponsor, give it up for UC Health. Our friendship sponsors, I'll go down the list here: Anschutz Foundation, the University of Colorado Foundation, Angie and Jeremy Flugie, the Uyghurs Family Foundation. Did I mispronounce that? Ross Fox and Paloma Tejero, thank you very much. That is our friend sponsor. The advocate sponsors, Sue and Walt Rakowicz and Boehringer Ingelheim Pharmaceutical. Our community builder sponsors, Frederick C. Hamilton Family Foundation, the RK Foundation, Lanny and Sharon Martin, Ann and Doug Sparks, Bridget and John Greer, the Sala Foundation, and the Department of Psychiatry. Thank you. You're going to see a full listing of sponsors on the screen before and after the luncheon, so make sure to thank them all. It is my pleasure now to introduce 3 key mental health advocates. The Johnson Depression Center Executive Director, Dr. Neil Epperson, the JDC Board Chair, Elizabeth Peros, and President and CEO of UC Health, our leader sponsor, Mr. Tom Gronow. Come on up.
Thank you, Vic, and thank you for stepping in today to help us out so that Reggie can spend some important time with his family. Reggie, we are thinking about you, and we send our prayers and best wishes to you and your family. Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Peros. I am board chair of the Johnson Depression Center. I would like to welcome everyone to our 13th annual luncheon. 13 years, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. We are going 13 years strong. And with that, I would like to say that means we have gathered here in this very room to talk about mental health with over 5,000 people. And during these luncheons, we've talked about a range of topics, from depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, the effects of social media on our mental health, all with a common theme of reducing stigma, changing conversations about mental health and mental illness. We have also raised over $5 million to help people get access to quality mental health care and to participate in our training and education programs, often offered for free. All of you are here today because you care about mental health. You are in alignment with our theme. You want to connect with others who share our passion. It truly warms my heart to see everybody here today, because I know that you have an option to be here and you have an option to be somewhere else. Yet you choose to join with us and to advocate for mental health. You choose to make a difference. You choose to engage, and you choose to support one another in the mental health care. I hope that when you leave here today, you will continue to make a choice to advocate, to change, and to elevate how we talk about, treat, and prevent mental illness and other mental health concerns that touch all of us in our communities. Thank you for your support. Before I turn the microphone over to Dr. Neil Epperson, the Executive Director of the Johnson Depression Center, I would like to give some special thank yous. First, To our amazing luncheon co-chairs, Angie Flug and Connie Wiegers. Thank you again for taking the reins for another successful luncheon. You drive the success of this luncheon. Thank you, ladies. Please stand so we can give you a round of applause. I also want to thank the entire luncheon committee for working tirelessly to plan such a fabulous event. And of course, none of this would be possible without the tremendous support from the university. Chancellor Elliman, thank you. Most of our Depression Center faculty and staff are with us today. Each of them work tirelessly every day, often on weekends, to help change and save lives. I want to give each and every one of them a heartfelt thank you. If you are sitting with someone from the Johnson Depression Center, please acknowledge the work that they do. I'd also like to acknowledge Brittany Pittman and John Toby for all the logistics involved in putting this luncheon together. The ballroom looks amazing once again, and that is due to them. And my deep gratitude to the entire Johnson Depression Center Advisory Board, whose passion for mental health advocacy is inspiring, empowering, and is driving a positive change in the lives of many. It is my honor and pleasure to work alongside each of you, and my sincere thank you for all you do to support the Johnson Depression Center and the success of this luncheon. And finally, to George Wiegers. Mr. Wiegers, your wisdom and foresight in founding the National Network of Depression Centers and the Johnson Depression Center has led to significant positive changes in improving the overall well-being of individuals and communities across the country, has reduced the stigma in mental health, and has been instrumental in providing access to the best treatment and care in Colorado. And to Heather Mulvihill, who led the Johnson Depression Center Board for over a decade, along with starting and chairing many luncheons. We certainly would not have the luncheon and the board success that we have today without your leadership. Mr. Wiegers and Heather, thank you. Mr. Wiegers, Heather, JDC board members, JDC faculty and staff, and luncheon committee members, please stand so everybody can acknowledge you. Later this afternoon, we will hear from our special guest, Michelle Williams. Michelle, thank you for having the courage to share your personal story and for being here today. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Neil Epperson, Chair of the Department of Psychiatry and Executive Director of the Johnson Depression Center. Thank you.
Elizabeth, you are truly amazing, and I'm just so inspired by your passion to promote mental health throughout Colorado, and particularly in the Denver metro region. And I think we both agree that the Johnson Depression Center has and will continue to play a pivotal role in improving mental health in the Denver metro region. I also want to find Courtney Hughes. Where are you, Courtney? All right, Courtney, could you please stand to be recognized? Courtney, you were an amazing partner over the past 3 years as the board chair, and you really shepherded us through a very difficult time with the pandemic, and even the post-pandemic year has not really felt like it's completely stable. So thank you so much for your patience, your fortitude, your wisdom, and for really being there for all of us at the JDC. So thank you so, so much. And so many, as you've heard, and I won't go as long, into all the different thank yous that Elizabeth just did, but I feel like I do need to say thank you to Angie and Connie, Angie Flug and Connie Wiegers, for really chairing another beautiful luncheon. This is a labor of love for you both. It's a labor of love for the whole committee, and we've turned out a beautiful ballroom yet again and a great event. I also need to thank the CU Anschutz advancement team, Kyle Smith, Susan Bross, and Vice Chancellor for Advancement, Scott Arthur, for really helping us to make this event a success from that financial perspective, which is so important in helping us meet our mission at the JDC. And then I also want to recognize Chancellor Elliman over here. I don't know, maybe raise your hand. Thanks, Don. Without your support all year long, we would not be able to accomplish all the things we do at the JDC. And finally, thank you for being here. It's the fact that you come and many of you give to the JDC year after year that keeps us going and really helps to elevate our mission and help us be successful, not only with clinical care, but with community engagement programs, as well as training the next generation of providers. And that is so important for the mental health of the future. I just want to take a moment to draw your attention to what is hopefully being presented over on the video monitors, but if not, it's in your program that was at your table. Last year, the Johnson Depression Center treated more than 1,000 unique patients, which is close to 15,000 patient encounters. That is a lot of hours of working with people that are in distress and helping them regain their health. I want to thank the clinicians and staff at the JDC, especially Chris Schneck, Dr. Chris Schneck, who is the medical director, and Dana Steidman, who is associate medical director. Again, we cannot provide this level of care if not for the endowment that was first established by Mr. Wiegers, supported by the Johnson family, and that has grown over the past 3 years with the generous support of the Anschutz Foundation, UC Health, and so many others. Thank you so much for contributing to the endowment. Our community programs, however, are completely dependent on the money that we raise at this luncheon. We could not provide the kinds of services in the community that we do without this support. Over the past years, we have touched more than 3,500 lives, and we've trained more than 2,000 individuals in our program called VitalCog, which focuses specifically on suicide prevention in the workplace. Each person trained in the VitalCog program can touch themselves 10 or 100 lives, reducing the stigma of mental illness in the workplace and helping individuals seek treatment before they get into a crisis or a death occurs. For these accomplishments, I want to recognize Dr. Matt Mishkin, who's Deputy Director of the JDC. Matt, would you please stand up where you are? Thank you. All right. And Ms. Alex Jonicon, who is the Director of Community Programs. Alex, please stand as well. Alex, your trainings are simply captivating and impactful, and we know that they save lives. I'd like to acknowledge some of our state leaders in healthcare that are here today. Without you, we would never achieve the vision of all Coloradans having access to mental health care at the right place, at the right time, with a provider who knows how to meet their needs. Thank you for all that you do every single day to improve the mental health landscape of our great state. And together, we are moving the needle. Recent statistics from the Colorado Department of Public Health and the Environment show that while suicides across the nation were up by 6.5% in 2022, and that is incredibly sobering. However, here in Colorado, due to the efforts of many that care about mental health care, our statistics show that we're down by 2.6%. So that is an amazing accomplishment. We still have a long way to go to prevent deaths due to mental illness, including addictions, but the good news is that we're on the right track and our efforts are paying off. So today, again, we're pleased to invite Michelle Williams as our keynote speaker with an important focus on checking in with ourselves and others as a way to promote mental health. I personally appreciate this message because my research and others really talk about the fact that we are social creatures. We are biologically, hormonally driven towards connection with one another. On this note, I want to thank each one of you for being here today. And we promise at the Johnson Depression Center to check in with you across the year. You will be hearing from us across the year. We want to tell you all the things that we're doing, but also provide information about the mental health landscape in Colorado and how that's changing over the year. And we certainly hope to see you back here in 2024. Now I'm pleased to hand over the microphone to my colleague and friend, Dr. Tom Grono. He is president of the University of Colorado Hospital and has been a stalwart partner for the JDC. We thank UC Health this year for being our lead luncheon sponsor. Dr. Grono.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Neil, for the words, and Elizabeth for your opening about why we're here today and what's important. As Neil mentioned, I have the honor and privilege to lead with a team of talented, respected individuals and faculty at the University of Colorado Hospital each and every day. I've been with UC Health since 2014, have had the privilege to be in the CEO role for the past 2 years, and we are at the precipice of really making great strides and great change across many avenues in both physical health and mental and behavioral health. And the criticality of what we do each and every day is only possible by the power and the expertise and the knowledge that's brought together at the Anschutz Medical Campus each and every day. So I'm very proud to be a part of that and to be a catalyst to help us continue to reduce the stigma and reduce the burden of what we see with mental and behavioral health each and every day. My time at the hospital has seen a lot of change and focus with respect to mental illness, bringing awareness, reducing stigma, and it's evidenced by what we have done over the past 5 years, specifically with Neil's arrival here and having a great partner to be able to move what we need to move forward. We've opened a brand new inpatient tower, which is housing a 40-bed inpatient psychiatric and behavioral health unit when others, particularly at a time when we see other hospitals and health systems closing these services. And this is one of many services. It's not merely enough to have beds to be able to admit patients to. This is about creating a continuum, connecting care both inpatient and outpatient from a virtual environment, providing that support and keeping track of our patients to know when we can intervene proactively instead of waiting for the worst to happen in many cases. And we think that is our way to make a dent in the large burden that we see across the nation with respect to behavioral and mental health. So 2 things that I'm really proud of in really connecting is our investment of $150 million into behavioral health and continued investment into the future, because we know you can't treat the whole person without really recognizing those things beyond just the physical ailments that we often see. I think the second, as Neil pointed out, is that we are starting to make an impact. We're starting to see the inroads into what we can do when we work together, we connect, and we think about the entire continuum beyond just the traditional walls of the hospital as treating physical ailments, reacting to illness, but how do we be proactive and how do we continue to connect that? Why it's important is we know that someone with serious mental illness is 3 times more likely to be in jail or prison than a hospital bed. And that is not the place to get treatment. That is not the place to help individuals return to being productive individuals within society and helping them realize their full potential. So while we are doing our part, we can do a lot more, and others can do a lot more, but we hope to be able to make an impact on what we do each and every day at UC Health, University of Colorado Hospital. Our partnership with the Johnson Depression Center is deep. We're proud to serve as a leader sponsor this year, and the JDC has a long cornerstone in treating and doing research in mental illness and educating communities with the intent of preventing and reducing the stigma around mental health. And we have that common shared belief that we can do things better together. I'm honored to be here and very excited for the program today. And as with Elizabeth and Neil, I'm so happy to see everyone in the audience here to provide support. Now I get the great pleasure of really kicking things off. So please join me in turning our attention to the screen for a short video about the great work being done at the JDC.
I had a dream of trying to do something for mental health. From that really grew the idea of the National Network of Depression Centers and the involvement of the University of Colorado. Now it's taken on a life of its own.
The Johnson Depression Center is a safe place and a place that can be open to anyone. It's a place where people can be educated, can be treated, and hopefully find hope.
The Helen and Arthur E. Johnson Depression Center provides state-of-the-art clinical care, community programs, as well as training and education for for the next generation of clinicians.
We treat a lot of anxiety disorders. We treat a number of patients who have had trauma. What sets us apart is that we really have specialty care for mood disorders. That's our focus, that's our concentration, and that's our expertise.
Under one umbrella, we have clinical excellence. We have research, especially research into advanced therapeutics and upcoming therapies, and we have our community programs.
My mother was bipolar and spent probably several years in and out of psychiatric hospitals in upstate New York. I was thinking about, at least at the outset, only about the clinical aspects of it, trying to make mental health available to people who needed it.
I think it's really important to have this academic home within a clinical department. The Johnson Depression Center really is the future of psychiatry in Colorado. It represents our capacity to provide state-of-the-art clinical services.
One of the things that sets our treatment apart is we practice what is called team-based care. We have weekly team meetings where we discuss complex cases. We have ongoing medication management treatment. We have a number of therapists who deliver what we call evidence-based psychotherapies.
When my father was diagnosed as a manic depressant, which is now bipolar as we know it, it was all hush-hush. Nobody talked about it. There was nothing to read. We had no counseling. We had no family anything. It was not available. When my family was affected by it, there was no education.
The COBE project, which is the Colorado Bipolar Education Project, is a educational project for the state and really beyond to educate patients, families, and clinicians about bipolar disorder.
We go into the communities and we provide training and education on a range of mental health issues. What I think is really important about that work is we can extend what's happening here in the clinic. I really want to do everything we can to make access to information, services, tools as equitable as possible.
One of the things that I'm most proud of when it comes to the Johnson Depression Center is our work to prevent suicide in the workplace. I think that we save lives every year through these programs.
15 years ago, even 10 years ago, when I was managing the company, no one talked about mental health as an issue. I don't know a CEO that I talk to today, or a leader of any business, that doesn't have that as a challenge, especially if they have a large workforce.
Getting into workplaces is really important to be able to touch a lot of people's lives. I like to think about the work we do with training and education as a multiplier effect. In an hour, we might be able to touch 50, 100 different lives.
My connection started with being invited to a luncheon once and feeling, oh my gosh, feeling very impacted due to my family background, and thought this is a place that Walt and I need to become involved with somehow.
This is our opportunity to give back in a way that is meaningful to us, but hopefully meaningful to other people.
We at the Helen and Arthur E. Johnson Depression Center could not provide the community-based programs that we provide, nor the clinical care, if it weren't for the support of people who attend the luncheon and give money year-long to help support our activities.
It touches my heart because I want to help people. The most important thing is when you have a diagnosis that you learn how to live with it and you take steps towards not only helping yourself but helping those that love you.
The Johnson Depression Center is doing relevant things in a society that really needs what they have to offer.
Now I have the honor to introduce our patient impact speaker, Elizabeth Lee. She's offered to join us here today to talk a little bit about her journey and the importance of continuing to advocate for mental health awareness and treatment. So Lizzie, thank you so much for being here. Take it away.
I'm Lizzie. I'm a patient at the Johnson Depression Center, and I have a superpower. It's one that I'm proud to share with the likes of Isaac Newton, Ernest Hemingway, and Selena Gomez. It's a little thing called bipolar. My specific diagnosis is bipolar 2. Bipolar exists on a spectrum, and bipolar 2 isn't what they show in the movies. Instead of huge manic depressive swings, bipolar 2 involves a pattern of rapid cycling, hypomanic, and depressive episodes. Some bipolar 2 patients, including myself, have longer lasting and more severe bouts of depression with very little manic symptoms at all. This is commonly known as bipolar depression. Why is this a superpower? I'll get to that. I was 14 when I was misdiagnosed with single D depression. I was going through what I believed was typical high school angst, and I thought I was spending hours at the school psychologist's office as an excuse to miss class. She had other thoughts about it. I tried a few different meds and eventually settled on Lexapro, like about half the people in this country. It got me through college, and while I still struggled with stubborn bouts of depression, they seemed to pass quick, and always around the time that I should have sought more help, the storm would blow over. I moved to New York City and started working for JP Morgan in the summer of 2008. Just a really chill time for Wall Street. My first assignment was right in the fire working on the Bear Stearns merger. I blossomed during my career there. From the Lehman Brothers lawsuit to the Dunkin' Donuts IPO to the London whale, which involved cleaning up after $6 billion in derivatives trading losses, I seemed to always catch the wave of being assigned to mission-critical projects from the firm, and I loved it. I also weaned off my medication. Unbeknownst to me, I had started the dangerous game of self-medicating with the cortisol and adrenaline rushes that comes with such a high-paced, intense environment. During the week, I went 100 miles per hour, and on the weekends, I crashed. By the way, I was rewarded for this with promotions. After 8.5 years of high highs and low lows, I hit burnout. I would sit in my 50-story Manhattan office tower staring at Instagrams of people camping and skiing in the mountains, until finally I took the leap to move to Colorado and start my own business in a new market and a new industry. I thought I could do anything. My past success and the state of my brain told me I'd already been through the hard stuff. But after I moved, my mental health started deteriorating. If any of you have ever started a business, you understand that those first days are quiet and challenging. What I didn't realize then was that by changing my environment and my career, I had dismantled the structure and self-medication regimen that I had created for myself in New York. I was at a loss, barely able to get through the days alone, let alone launch a new business. Now, I do identify as a New Yorker, so I am susceptible to some of the stereotypes, including my ability to be direct. If I have an opinion, it's likely you're going to find out about it. But this was different. My brain was playing tricks on me, altering my reality. The level of agitation grew to the point that I thought I was losing my mind. My amazing mom jumped in crisis mode and made me an appointment at the Depression Center. I was skeptical. I figured I just need to hop back on Lexapro for a few weeks and everything will be fixed and then I'll get back off. I came in hot to that first appointment, like that true New Yorker would. Now, it typically takes about 8 years to get a bipolar 2 diagnosis. For me, it took 15. But as soon as that appointment started, the diagnosis took about 15 minutes. The provider immediately identified that I was in the middle of a mixed episode where mania and depression occur simultaneously. This is characterized by impulsiveness, anger, agitation, extreme irritability, suicidal ideation, the whole thing. It's a nervous system state that makes you feel like I did, that you're constantly under attack from everything in your environment. Walking out of there with that diagnosis was scary and overwhelming, but it's the best thing I have ever done. The best thing I've ever done is take it, embrace it, own it, and grow to love it as part of myself. We try to live in a world without labels, but in this case, the label has given me a roadmap to build a life worth living. I've been a patient at the Depression Center for 6.5 years now, and pharmaceuticals were just the beginning and the easy part. I have made countless adjustments to my life that act as medication. My medication is regimented sleep, restricting alcohol intake, dietary adjustments, vitamin protocols, exercise, temperature regulation, light therapy, physical therapy, and regular acupuncture for my nervous system health. What may seem like luxuries to many is survival for me. Through dialectical behavior therapy offered by my amazing therapist, Amy Lopez, I have worked to develop skill sets that rewire how I process emotions and communicate my feelings to others. With Samantha McBride, I am working to process deeper trauma through EMDR. The state of being is hard. It's an invisible handicap. When people have broken legs, others jump to open the door for them. My broken leg is in my brain, and when it shows up, it can be hidden even from me. When my emotions get too big and I have an outburst, there's no visual clue to show what the cause is to other people. I surprise myself all the time. This journey is nonstop, and there are no off days. Even when things are going well, I still need to work hard to make sure they don't slip, and when they do, I have to accept responsibility and find the willpower to pick up the pieces. But this is a superpower. If you've ever watched a superhero film, you understand that superpowers can be dangerous, but when carefully trained, that power can save the world. The journey has been hard and dangerous at times, but with it comes a level of depth, empathy, and consciousness that's unique and is a huge gift. There is no aspect of my life that I don't give 100% to. I thrive in high-pressure situations. At work, I've been called Neo from the Matrix. My friendships are deep. My loves are real. I'm deeply spiritual. There's a quote out there, religion is for those who are afraid of hell. Spirituality is for those who have been there. The effect of this diagnosis extends beyond me. I've been able to help multiple others in my family seek further diagnosis, leading to drastic shifts in their lives. I can see magically into the past and future, understanding the impact of this hereditary condition on those in my family who came before, and illuminating awareness of the signs of bipolar for those to come. Of course, I could not have made it on this journey without being surrounded by so much support. Mr. Rogers said, "Look for the helpers." I am constantly given so much grace, especially from my family who have participated in DBT therapy and the Kobe Project, which was just talked about. They've done the work to learn the skill sets and create the cultural shift in how we handle emotions in our family. If you've ever tried to change your parents, you'll understand what a big deal this is. My amazing professional team has been with me every step. Amy, Samantha, Dr. Geis, if you guys could stand up and just wave. If there is anything that you take away from this, I hope you walk away with a better awareness of bipolar 2. It's one of the most underdiagnosed and misdiagnosed mental health conditions in our country. It is real, it's deadly. Bipolar has the highest risk of suicide out of any mental illness category. If you see somebody struggling with depression or dysregulated emotions and irregular outbursts that seem like a big New York personality, maybe they're not just a Karen, there might be something else going on. The Johnson Depression Center is literally out here saving lives. Supporting their work has a ripple effect so far beyond the people who walk in their doors. They're doing incredible research and clinical work on bipolar that really needs your support. Lastly, based on statistics, it's likely that some of you here in this room struggle with your own mental health. The journey is hard, I know. Embracing it was the single best thing I could have done for myself. You have been given a superpower to live life with the depth and perspective that many others will only scratch the surface of. It's a gift to exist, even if it's hard to acknowledge through the suffering. Remember, there are people out there like those at the Johnson Depression Center, always ready and waiting to lift you through.
Lizzie, thank you very much for those inspiring words. And you're right, we all deal with it at different levels on a daily basis, and that's why we're here this afternoon. It is my time now to raise some money, or as they say in my family, shake you down. You know where your money's going. And for the first time ever in this wonderful event, we are going to conduct a paddle raise. If you could please, everyone with a paddle, a number, a bidding number, can you please raise your bidding number? And let's look at the opportunity that we have in this here room. That's a lot of numbers, held by a lot of different people, which equates into a lot of dollars and a lot of help for the Depression Center. So I thank you. Please hold it up high so I can see you when we get to a certain level you're comfortable with. And understand that we, together, can make a huge difference today. We're going to begin our number. We're going to begin at, I don't know. Is anyone willing to donate $10,000? $10,000. Oh my, we got one right here. Number 285. Thank you very much. Thank you. $10,000. Anyone else? You will? 429. So you just misplaced that 10 grand? You're just looking for it? My wife does that all the time. Thank you. Anyone else at $10,000? Beautiful gesture. How about 5,000? Let's go 5,000. Who wants to donate $5,000? Anyone in this room? We're at 20 right now. Anybody else want to go $5,000? We've got one in the back. 347 at 5K. Thank you. Number 347. Anyone else at 5,000? Let's go 2,500, please. Who is willing to give up $2,500 for what we have seen today? 736. Thank you very much. 736 at 25. 899 at 25. Oh, wait a minute. Turn it around. It's actually 668. That could have been a big problem for somebody else. Who has 899? I'm just curious. That's 2,500. Anybody else at 2,500? What are we up to right now? I just lost count. 339. Thank you very much. 339 at 2,500. I think we're pretty close. Let's see. Yeah, we're at 32.5. 32.5 in the room. Anybody else at 2,500 to give us an even 35,000? Anybody else? Boom. 658. 658. Thank you. All right, how about $1,000? $1,000. Here we go. 798 at 1,000. 273 at 1,000. 680. Number 772. Number 726. Number 786. Number 832. Number 511. Number 698. Number 944. Number 966. Number 509. Number 868. Did you all hold them up correctly? Number 319 at $1,000. Do we have another that I missed? Where? Number 780. Thank you. Number 441. Thank you. $1,000. How are we looking? 51,000 thus far. Thank you. 51 at 1,000 level. Anybody else? Okay. 500 bucks. 500 bucks. Here we go. 640. Number 634. Number 942, number 435, number 652, number 858, number 562, number 552, number 279, number 822, number 255, number 746, number 742, number 345, number 836, number 840, number 277, number 890, cleaner in this side of the room here, number 716, number 718, number 313, number 626, number 467, number 862, number 740, number 297, number 263, number 808, number 503, number 728, number 281, number 800, number 642, number 956, number 598. I don't count sheep to go to sleep. I do too much counting. Outstanding at the $500 mark. Let's see where that puts us right now, because we got a pretty penny at $500. Let me know if there's anybody else that wants to bid 500 here. Quick donation of 500. We're at 68,500. Give me one more 5 to make it 69,000. Anybody? One more 5. Anybody with a fiver in the room? Yes. 499. Thank you. Another one? 802. Okay, now I got to have a third. Number 568. That gets us to 70,000. Our next one is $250. Next level, $250. Here we go. Let me catch my breath before we start here. Here we go. Number 251, 954, 960, 337, 948, 758, 928, 727, 770, 433, 423, 660, 534, 662, 628, 531, 860, 335, 425, 622, 427, 455, 299, 253, 950. Peripheral vision of a hawk. 620, 738, 764, 828, 413, 525, 810, 269, 507, 489, 491 at $250. See, now Reggie, when he does these, he is able to actually add this all up in his head. I read a prompter for a living. I got no chance. So what are we at? $79,000 even. As we get to our final level, this is it. $100. Who's willing to donate $100? 293, 554, 768, 694, 349, 816, 818, 584, 329, 930, 305, 542, 936, 904, 762, 540, 844, 964, 752, 684, 812, 405, 483, 407, 720, 946, 898, 287, 445, 401, 796, 878, 560, 826, 854, 564, 896, 415, 952, 572, 477, 632, 267, 744, 327, 481, 932, 958, 536, 922, 830. Man, I did a lot of reps there. Anybody else at $100? Let's see where that puts us. Might have an uneven number. That doesn't fit well with me. 84-1. We're at 84-1. Anyone else before we close shop here? 443-794. That puts us at 84-3. Give me two more for a quick 84-5. 656. Looking for one more. One more in the house. 441. Thank you very much. $84,500 goes to help a lot of people. Thank you again. It is my honor now to introduce our keynote speaker, Michelle Williams, everybody. So many things I can say to introduce Michelle. A successful musician, author, actor, consumer product line owner. She exemplifies women's empowerment. She's a Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter, actress, entrepreneur, designer, television host, a member of one of the most successful recording groups of all time. That would be A Child of Destiny. She's also recorded 4 critically acclaimed albums as a solo artist, including Journey to Freedom, whose song Say Yes was certified gold. In 2019, after making it to the semifinal round, Michelle was revealed as Butterfly on the #1 rated Fox television show, The Masked Singer. That was you? So many accolades. She's also here today to talk about her journey from Midwestern girl to award-winning touring member, one of the biggest groups of all time, to coping with bouts of depression. She's inspired countless thousands of others to follow their passions while providing them with key tips and lessons that could put them on their own path to personal and professional success. We're going to have some fun. Please welcome Michelle Williams to the stage. Great. As Michelle makes her way up, don't forget the QR code that's available. You can scan it right now. Slide the QR code to make this process easier before we leave. Donate now by scanning that QR code.
Okay, all right. Where do you want me to sit?
Where do you want to sit?
Where is the best spot?
All right, so Michelle, according to the script, you're interviewing me. So what do you want to know?
Oh my gosh.
You know, I grew up loving music,
Yes.
and I remember Destiny's Child when you guys came up, and I remember listening and singing along to all your songs.
Really?
Before we get
Which
into
one was you singing, Vic?
well, I'm not a very good singer, but honest to God.
Humor us.
No, I'm not going to humor you. I'm not going to embarrass myself in front
No,
of you.
it's
Sing.
courage. It's
No,
courage.
No, I wish I had the courage.
It's courage.
I have to ask you though, how
Yes.
did you come together? How did you find each other?
Well, let's see, how did we come together? Funny story. Originally, I was a background singer for Monica. And Monica and 98 Degrees were going on tour in 1999. Who wasn't even born in 1999? There's a few of y'all weren't born yet. And Destiny's Child was the opening act. They were the act in which you're gonna go be at the concession stands, getting your popcorn. You're not paying attention to the opening act. They had like 2 songs out at the time. And a couple months later, I got a phone call saying that they were looking for, some fill-ins. I wasn't even supposed to be permanent. But I say this when I speak to young people, depending on how you do at your last job, might determine the phone calls and the references that you get for something new. Show up knowing your part, be punctual. I was a little late today, sorry. I don't want to be a hypocrite. Be nice, because someone will call your name. And when they call your name, you want it to be good. You want it to be good. And I want to acknowledge the Johnson Depression Center. I don't think there are great movements going along in the country right now. as it relates to mental health. But I don't think I've ever seen something dedicated in such a large magnitude to mental health. It's like I want to move here because of it. I want to get training and just work at the JDC. You know, where's my name pen? Engrave it right now. So I just want to acknowledge the wonderful people that make up the Johnson Depression Center. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And your journey relates to a lot of what the Depression Center is doing, and let's get into some notes from your book. But oh, there you go. You said you felt different as far back as 7th grade.
Yeah. When I finally got the diagnosis in my 30s, we were able to trace from what I could remember symptoms. But it's actually been within the past, surprisingly, within the past few months. I was wondering, I know the anxiety symptoms showed up in the 4th grade.
Huh.
I was bullied by a group of girls, and I just remember showing symptoms, stomach symptoms. My mother is a nurse. She couldn't figure out what it is. Her brother's a practicing physician, and they just thought it was the stomach virus or something. And once I told my mom what was happening, she went up to that school, pulled me out the school, and so living in a state of anxiety from that young age, but you didn't have language for it. But I wasn't honest. Who cares if you were bullied? Toughen up, you know? But when I told my mother, I should have told her earlier because she actually cared. You know, so don't ever feel like you can't tell somebody what's going on, because somebody does care.
Did those feelings, as you grew in your success, did the anxiety ever manifest itself in stage fright?
Actually, no. I grew up in church. So you were thrown onto that pulpit to sing a sermonic solo in the choir stand. I did a lot in church. I seasoned chicken. You know, I did everything. I read church announcements. I was a church nurse on the 4th Sunday because it was Youth Sunday. And so I did a lot, but functioning. And I just did not know in the 7th grade that the other symptoms that I was having was that of depression, isolation, sleeping a lot, grades dropping, you know. And so when you think of your kids with their doors shut, nowadays you think they're just gaming, they're just playing games. But they might actually, like me, I was just asleep. And so maybe my parents didn't feel they needed to check on me because they feel, well, we ain't getting no bad reports. She's asleep, you know, and just thinking, as you see in the book, the booklet today, thinking it was growing pains, thinking, well, this is what it's like to turn into a woman. I was like, I don't want it. Being a woman is for the streets. I don't want it. You know, that's a new term young folks are saying now, for the streets, so don't mind me. It probably didn't even make sense to say it in that. I'm 44. I don't know all this stuff. That's my excuse now.
You were very public now, but there was a time when your story was thrown out there and you had to face it. How difficult was that?
I told it on my own terms. I was actually doing an interview. I was touring in a musical called Fela, and I was talking to a journalist from the Associated Press, and we're having a conversation like this. You know how you media folks are.
Oh yeah, we're very manipulative.
And so you're getting stuff out of us. And before you know it, I told him, I said, you know, I've dealt with depression. You know, I know what it's like. And I didn't think that it would make the published part of the interview, and it did. And when I tell you, it was like the shot heard around the world. It was on the lower thirds. It was on ticker tape on CNN. And I was like, hopefully they think it's the other Michelle Williams. No, it was my blackface. She's on Dawson's Creek. I'm the one from Destiny's Child, just so y'all know. Greatest Showman didn't show up today. Sorry, that's who y'all were looking for. Yeah, I get lots of mix-ups with her, even with my profile picture being that.
Well, I get
Like-
I get mixed up with Reggie Rivers too. I
You
mentioned
know what
that.
I
Yeah.
mean?
It's I feel your pain.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So fast forward to, it came out. So I was like, oh, that's so nice of her. She's strong. She's telling her story. And so before you know it, I'm just like telling my story. Because it was men that would talk to me, walking through the Today Show or WGN in Chicago. It was men with tears in their eyes thanking me for telling my story. And it was from those two instances that I said I would continue to tell my story. All right, minding my business. 2018, I am, the whole year of 2018, we were rehearsing for Coachella, right? I just got engaged. In July of 2018, though, I checked myself into a treatment facility for depression. Now, I named two amazing things that happened for me. But in July, I found myself checking in. And I didn't tell anybody again. I was dealing with depression since the end of 2017, actually. But by the time 2018 hit, by the time the adrenaline of all the rehearsals every day and the engagement, I really found myself in a pit, a bottomless pit. And I turned to two of my favorite people. They're pastors. And we prayed, but something that they said to me, they said, if you still, in the morning when you wake up and you still don't feel good, go and get help. Now, some people of faith feel so arrogant and confident that their prayers will just be the end all. But it's the faith with the work that helps. So I put my faith into work, and I drove myself to a treatment facility. And I didn't have a duffel bag. I hadn't waxed my mustache. I put on a hat. And I said, well, shame, worried about what people will think, has to go out the window when you are desperate for help. Shame goes out the window. So I check in, and it was cool. The nurses were great. They even went to Target and got me some pajamas because I didn't have anything. And days in, my manager calls and says, hey, TMZ has gotten wind of where you are. What do you want to do? So, you know, by the time a platform like that knows where you are, knows something, they got the information. They just want you to confirm it. And so I said, I am going to put out my own statement, and you'll have to just copy and paste. And so I said, I'm doing what I've told people for the past 5 years. If you feel like you need help, go and get it. And I stayed a couple more days, and then I remember the nurses coming in my room, closing the curtain, saying because folks have long lenses. See? So funny, he was taking lick. And it made me angry because how many people want to get help who might just be a CEO in this room, who might be a therapist, who might be a public figure, or you might be popular for making great cupcakes for PTO. Do they still do PTO? I don't know. But reasons like that make people not want to get help because people talk too much. Mm-hmm. And they don't let people tell their own stories, you know. But I got intensive outpatient care, and still we were working to try to get to the root, because I don't like depression. I hate it. I didn't like being in the bed for weeks at a time. You know, I'm gonna inject humor here. Depression makes you stink. You can't get out the bed. You can't do the basic things that would make somebody want to be next to you. And I thank my Uncle Charles. He is a doctor, respectively, he's an MD, but I call him Uncle Charles. And he called me one day, he said, Tanitra, which is my first name, he said, if you can just get out the bed and make some oatmeal, even if you have to get back in the bed, do it. So I did that. One day I said, let me get up, let me brush my teeth. Got up and brushed my teeth. You look in the mirror, the shower is in the back. You might as well, after you brush your teeth, go hop in that shower. Now, this didn't happen all in one day, but gradual steps, all right? And then the big one, make your bed and put all 80,000 pillows on it. And I started doing that, and I would make my bed so that I wouldn't get back in the bed. I would at least have to sit on the sofa and watch television. And before you know what, I could go and get my mail. And so I just encourage people taking those baby steps. And I thank my uncle for making it okay. He didn't make me feel like I had to do it all in one day. You know, so I really thank him for those baby steps that helped literally get me out the bed.
What's the longest you stayed in bed? The longest amount of, is it a month?
6 weeks.
6 weeks?
About 6 weeks.
And how much per day were you in bed? I mean,
All day I would get up to use the bathroom.
and did your loved ones check on you at that point? I mean, how do you interact with folks?
I'm kind of an isolator just because I enjoy my solitude. So people might, if you don't talk to me for a week, you know that I'm okay, you know. But I had a way still of answering phone, hello!
Yeah.
I would only let certain people know. One person knew. She would bring me, is it kombucha? Bucha?
Yeah.
She would bring, what is it?
Kombucha, and it tastes terrible, but-
Kombucha. She would
Yeah.
bring me that. And Kind bars and things like that to get my appetite and get me going. There were certain things because I felt like you got to have safe people that you can tell it to, who won't judge you, who won't say get over it, who won't, you know. And so I had at least one person that I could tell.
You know, I interview athletes for a living, and I'm amazed at today how many professional athletes, how many men in the professional sports have come out and crossed that line and no longer consider it taboo and have grasped this head on, and this is part of who we are. Mental health is part of who we are. Did you ever have a model that you, when you were going through this, oh man, if that person can do it, I can too? Or were you your own model?
I think at the time, if I'm being honest, I think I was my own.
Yeah.
I think I was my own at the time. And when I look back, there weren't a lot of people talking about it. In 2013, that's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful to see people even publicly saying, I'm going to take some time off. There are certain athletes that are saying, I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to get well. Because I wasn't giving my best self that I knew that I could give. You know, I wasn't living the quality of life that I knew that I desired to live. And checking in was even birthed out of taking the power back in what was meant to humiliate me and embarrass me. And while I was in that hospital, I was journaling. You know, I was taking inventory of what did I do to get me here? And it wasn't to blame myself, but checking in with myself, checking in with others.
Yeah.
Life was on autopilot, life was good. I didn't want to, B was rehearsing for Coachella, so what I'm gonna do, tell her on that big stage, hey, I'm depressed. Kelly's 7 children, hey girl, no. So you're always feeling like you're gonna be the Debbie Downer in most times. But they were so disappointed that I didn't come to them.
Confide.
That I did not confide in them. And so, like, when I got out of the hospital, you know, they came to see about me, like, don't you ever keep something, no matter what it is, you know, because I'm the listening box for a lot of people. And I don't know if a lot of people that have suffered with depression, you have found yourself, you're able to help others, but you don't know if those same people, if you can go to those same folks who also confide in you.
In your book, you talk about a story with Nathan and getting mad at him? Who's Nathan?
Well, names were changed to protect the innocent
Yes.
and the guilty.
So Nathan is somebody that you got mad at.
Yes, Nathan was an ex.
Okay.
What did I say to Nathan?
And you was but you say you often associate anger with men especially,
Yeah.
sign
yeah.
of depression.
Irritability. We think depression is, even when you see pictures of depression, it'll be a circle with the two eyes and the teardrops. But what about the irritability? And I said some stuff to him that I would not say to anybody else. But when we did some digging, my father has passed away, and we were able to make good years ago. But my therapist said, you were saying things to him that you wanted to say to your father. And she made me write a letter. And as I was writing the letter, that stuff that I said to him, I found myself saying in the letter, Nathan, dear, you did not deserve that. We've talked since then, and he's been really, really cool and supportive. But some of it was he deserved.
We all
You
do.
I just don't wake up
Sure.
saying this stuff. You did something.
You mentioned how some of your closest friends said, how dare you keep this from us? But there's also a tendency to perceive people that offer help as, well, come on, I'm not helpless, I'm fine. You want to play that I'm all grown up, I'm fine. How hard is it to get through that?
Oh, I don't do that anymore. You
Yeah.
offering help? Help me!
Yeah.
You're, even to the point of, this is so funny. This is at the time before I moved. I was living in a high-rise in Atlanta, and you have a cart to take all your bulk trash down, and a young man wanted to help me, and I was like, oh no, I got it. And it was like, independent women came out in 2000. Life has changed since. Let the man help you.
Yeah.
It's okay. Let people help you. It is not a sign of weakness. Some of it was, I also had to, let's check ourselves, guys. Some of it was false humility.
Yeah.
It is okay to let somebody assist. It's okay. You're not going to be weak. It actually takes some strength, and maybe a part of you that doesn't want to be vulnerable to let somebody do something for you.
Yeah. Don't have to be a hero all the time. The name of the book is Checking In.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Checking in, I had to get real about depression. And once I got real about it, it saved my life. I looked at, I know this is not a faith-based event, but the 3 pillars was checking in with self, checking in with others, and checking in with God. And I truly respect all cultures, everything in this room. But I likened it to maybe there was a chair or something that has 3 legs. And if there's any chair, heck, this has 4. You take one of them off, it's not stable. So the pillars, I had to get back to those pillars that keep me strong. As Lizzie was saying, there are things that I do. I have to, listen, dating is cool, but we ain't got nothing to talk about at midnight. I need to go to sleep. So by 10 o'clock, I want to be asleep. The earlier I go to sleep, the earlier I wake up in the morning. I feel so much better after having rest. Whatever you want to say to me at midnight, can you say it to me at 8 p.m.? Can we do that? The working out. Yes, you can look good, but I love how it makes me feel. Constant therapy. There are moments where we don't have anything to talk about but the crawfish that I ate. She got paid $150 for that session. But at least I'm checking in. EMDR has been amazing. The technique makes me feel like I can fly. Then one day I found myself wailing. It was a cry that came out the pit of my entire abdomen. There are things that we forget, trauma, and how that stays in your body, and you just never know why a person, a scent, a name, a light, something can, irritate you. And so I'm really an advocate for please, please, please talk it out, unpack that trauma. You didn't deserve what happened to you. And I'm sorry for anything that has happened to someone in this room that you did not ask for, you did not deserve. But I will go down and say, healing is your responsibility.
Do you ever consider yourself fully healed?
I've always asked, can a person be fully whole?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I buy a pie at the store, I want it to be whole. Now, don't give me a pie with 8 slices and it should be 9. Can a person be fully whole? Healing, to me, is going to be ongoing. Life will life, people will people. But I've noticed I'm healed of a specific situation based on how I respond to a person, the topic. I've had some healing in that, situation. Healing is ongoing. Now, we know a miracle, that's instant. That's an instant thing. But healing, I believe, will be lifelong as long as you are taking a risk to love, as long as you are taking a risk on being a great person in this society. I think we'll always be healing. We will always be healing. But there are certain things that don't irritate me anymore. Certain things that I definitely have risen above. So yeah, there are some things that I can say I'm healed from that. Yeah.
What's the difference for those who suffer from levels of anxiety, and we all have anxiety at some level? What's the difference between high anxiety and depression, in your best words?
High anxiety. My anxiety is the stuff that just starts going on in my head. There's going to be a lot of people there. You don't know those people. And blah, 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 blah. That's like, girl, you're fine. You're safe. I have to tell myself, you're safe. One of my favorite books is Safe People, Dr. Henry Cloud John Townsend. I started to read that book, and I remember reading that book. To read the book, when me and my ex-fiance broke up, I read the book Safe People because I was going to read the book to tell him how unsafe he is. I got to page 5, and that thing told me how unsafe I had been, right? So anxiety, there are times where sometimes I don't know, sometimes discernment and anxiety can kind of be the same for me. I'll say no at the last minute going somewhere. Maybe it could be my anxiety, or maybe it's because I don't know if something gonna happen. I don't know, but sometimes high anxiety for me is event related.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Depression for me is, lives. My father passed in 2020, and I just knew he was gonna get well. He had been ill for years. And I said, I'm not gonna lay in the bed about this. Now it was hard work planning that man's funeral and getting his suit. I definitely took a nap or two, but I refused to let life get me down to that pit. I don't want that. I don't want that. But I do pay attention to my body. If I'm tired, I will take a nap. But it's not depression. It's just because it's healthy.
If there's someone here, and there always is, who has a friend, family member that's going through some mental health issues and they don't know quite how to handle it, what advice would you give?
It is awesome to have the strength to say, I need help. And my wish for everybody in this room, maybe you're not suffering with depression or bipolar anxiety or any other mood disorder, mental illness. Things change throughout the year, so I just want to be correct. My wish is that you have safe people that you can say, honey, it's been a struggle. And then that safe person is supposed to say, I saw it up here. Thank you for telling me. I've got the tools. If you want them, I don't want to, throw anything on you. Have you been in some counseling? I'll go with you to your first session. I'll sit out in the lobby. Hopefully they have some coffee, a coffee machine, a Keurig. Walk with that person, but have the courage. I know we've got 8 seconds. I did a mental wealth expo in New York a couple days ago, and there was an all-men's panel. And those men were so honest about their journey. I said, ooh, all y'all are cute. So to all the men out here, you'll look even way better if you can be honest. You don't have to be like me and screaming from the mountaintop. But prayerfully, you've got somebody that you can say, it hasn't been easy, and it hasn't been easy for a while. Or I'm having some thoughts that are kind of not like me. Things seem great, but I was playing Let's Make a Deal with God. I was like, God, I've lived a great life. What more do you have for me? I'm okay. Take me out. I planned my funeral. I knew who was going to do the eulogy. I knew I wanted orchids. But we'll do that 80 years from now. I'll be in my hundreds then. It's good to plan. Because Mama might get me carnations. I don't want carnations. It's okay to plan. But not for something immediate. But please, it's okay. It's okay. Get the help. Thank you for this safe
Michelle,
conversation.
it was an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege. Thank you
We'll
so much.
do this again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was just thinking, I had this ugly napkin on me. Let me grab a picture.
Without the napkin.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. We have a limited supply of books available for those of you who want to get in line. And Michelle's kind enough, she'll do a book signing here in just a few moments. We want to thank our sponsors again for making this event possible. Our 13th annual C.U. Johnson Depression Center Luncheon. Without their help, we don't do this. Thank you for the fundraiser. Made a ton of money for a great cause. Get out there and, as Michelle told us, check in. Thanks again, everybody.
That's why I wrote this song to sing.